I think I have figured out what I'm going to be reading, and I've been like kind of in like a fantasy, I don't know, like more of like a fairy tale type of fantasy like story, like something just like really mystical, really magical. So I think I'm gonna read my very first Brandon Sanderson book, and I've heard that this is not really like his normal type of books, but a lot of people have like this one, and it's Tress of the Emerald Sea, and I think that's something I'm kind of in the mood for. So I just saw that they had it at my local library on Libby, so I'm gonna get that put onto my Kindle. Hello, this is an egg update. It's currently Saturday. I'm like on page 50, I think, of Tress of the Emerald Sea. I'm not gonna lie, I don't know what it is, but this book is like taking me so slow to go through. Like I'm just taking my time, but I don't really feel like I'm like actually like winding down and reading it. I don't know what it is. Like I just haven't been in like the biggest reading mood. I'm still excited to read it, and it's actually like what I'm looking for right now, but I just haven't really like sat down and read it. But yeah, I don't know what it is. Like I don't know why it's taking me so long to just like read this book, but I mean I only started like 2 days ago, but I can tell my reading pace with this one is just so slow for some reason, which is I don't know why. Like the writing isn't complex or anything, but it's just taking me a long time to read. Like I've noticed my reading speed is really slow with this book. But yeah, I don't know if I'm actually gonna read tonight. We'll see, maybe. I actually was supposed to be editing a video today, and I just got a little lazy today. Like I don't know what it is. I just been really out of it. But also, oh, my arm cracked. Also, I'm just kind of in the Stardew mood. Like I kind of don't play Stardew tonight, so. But yeah, anyways, I just had to update you guys. I'll see you guys in the next clip. Hello you guys, it's been a minute since I've like actually, oh my gosh, my battery's dying. Let me try to see like how fast I can do this. I wanted to just do a quick update on Tress of the Emerald Sea because I have been getting a good amount done already. I'm like on chapter 22, 23. I guess the Kindle and the book, I don't know if they like align properly because the Kindle says I'm a lot farther. When I look at the physical copy, it says I'm only on page 124, but on my Kindle it shows like 160 something. I don't know. I could be... I'm not sure why this lighting is making my face look really pale. I have been postponing reading for some reason. I don't know what it is. I just kind of lost like that reading jive, and actually I think part of the reason is because the Nintendo Switch was having their sales again, so I kind of re-downloaded some new games. I did get Disney Dreamlight Valley, which I have not started yet, but I did get a game that you guys, and you know who you are, you recommended a game onto one of my comments about something called Spiritfarer, and oh my gosh, I just started it. I'm not really far in it, but I'm absolutely in love with the animation. Like it's so cute. I love the little music and the twinkly music. I'm just so invested into the story and I want to find out how the whole game goes. Like I'm really stuck on wanting to get through that game. But anyways, jumping right in real quick, I'm going to be wrapping up this reading vlog really quickly because I actually have to log back in for work. I am currently on page, let me see, 234, so kind of a good chunk of it in. It's kind of exciting because we did land on, the ship has like finally done sailing and now we're on land, which I'm kind of interested to see what's going to happen because a good chunk of it kind of does take place on the boat. We have not yet found the character that she has been trying to find for her mission, and by she I mean Tress. It's like the main character. She's kind of slowly growing on me a little bit more. Like I feel like she's starting to show like a lot more tougher skin, and she's starting to show like a lot more of her character development, kind of finding herself a little bit better. I'm really curious to see how the story's gonna end because we have not yet found Charlie, and so I'm like really curious. I'm like, okay, so how is this gonna wrap up? And I'm really curious to see if it's gonna have like a really good ending. But I do think this is one of those stories that I wouldn't mind reading 2 books at the same time, like this before bed, like kind of to like wind down and like cozy up on, and then another book, because this is not really much happens in it. It's just like more of like an ambient reading, somewhat of a cozy romance, somewhat of a cozy book to read before bed. And so I kind of feel like this is something I definitely could have read like another book at the same time. But again, I haven't really been reading as much. Nothing particularly wrong with the book, just me in particular. And yeah, I just been getting really sidetracked. I don't know what it is. I don't really have much to say other than that. It's so far just providing that, like what I was looking for. Nothing high stakes, just something to provide, something for me to read, somewhat cozy, somewhat to like wind down on. Definitely providing the classic type of vibe. And also just to let you know, if you have the paperback version of this, there's no illustrations in it unfortunately, but if you do read it on your Libby app, and if you have, I think, the hardcover, there's illustrations in it. Don't quote me on the hardcover, I'm not for sure. It's really cool to see like the illustrations throughout the story, and as you saw, we were watching Pirates of the Caribbean, so I don't know, it kind of hyped me up more to like read this book because obviously there's like pirates in it. It's kind of like a pirate book, and so yeah, I'm really enjoying it. I'm really enjoying trying to find out what's happening with like the world system and understanding the spores in itself. Like I'm just really curious. So that is my alarm to actually go back to work, so I'm going to be ending this little clip here. Okay, pardon how I look right now, but it is thunderstorming right now and I'm so happy. It's like so cozy, and I'm off in like 30 minutes, but I'm just like, I love thunder. I just feel like thunder is just like so cozy, and like it's like raining. I guess it's like rain snow. It's raining, but it says snow, but it's just, I don't know, it feels so cozy right now. Like I'm just, I don't know if you could hear that, but it. I just want to sit in and read. I was gonna film some videos, but I'm like, maybe I should just like sit and enjoy this weather. I love this weather so much. Now it's raining. It sounds like someone showering, but it's so nice. I love this weather. It just puts me in such a great mood. Hello you guys. I wanted to actually check in with you guys because I got a good chunk of Tress of the Emerald Sea done so far. I'm actually on chapter 54, and yeah, I have a good chunk of it. This is how much I have left. I've been reading it every night before bed, and well, pretty much every night, and honestly it's like the perfect book to read before bed. But yeah, I'm really loving it so much actually. Like at first, okay, if I'm being honest, I couldn't get into the writing style just because I don't want to judge Brandon Sanderson's writing style, because I think this is like one of his side projects, so I'm not sure if this is how he writes his other books. It puts like little random moments of breaking the fourth wall and like little bits of humor and like little side thoughts of the narrator, and it kind of threw me off a little bit, to be honest. It was kind of hard to get into, so it kind of took me a minute to get used to that. But as the story progressed, I started getting more interested, and so I feel like there was times where I was like not bored with it, but it was just definitely not a story I would just pick up in the middle of the day just to keep me entertained. It's just like a story I would just kind of like read just to keep me busy before bed, just kind of like read something while winding down. And I think this is the type of story that fits that situation. Like if you want a story to kind of like read before bed, there's parts of it, it's definitely not like a cozy, like it's not gonna be like, oh, I'm sitting down with a warm cup of tea in my blanket living a hippie lifestyle. Like definitely not that, but it is just like a classic story. Like it's almost like reading like those old school fairy tales that you'd read when you were younger. It had like some type of darker but lesson in it. It's like one of those stories, and I don't know, I'm really enjoying it. I actually didn't really know that much about each character. I would kind of forget like who is who, and the last few chapters of, or the last 2 chapters of this, like before I got up to chapter 54, it honestly kind of made me a lot more attached to the characters, because something happened where it kind of like broke my heart a little bit, and I just felt so empathetic for one of the characters, like because you know, you just keep reading about them, and sometimes it seems a little slow, and then you're just like constantly seeing the same name, you're hearing them talk about certain things, and so you're just like, okay, but then as that chapter progressed later on in the story, something happens, and you actually feel like, because you've been reading about this character so much, you start to feel a little empathetic towards them. You feel really bad for them, and you're just like, why would that happen to them? Like they don't deserve that. And that's how I felt. And then also as for Tress, she's starting to grow on me even more, I think, because she's starting to like create a shell. Like she broke out of her like kind, shy, nice shell, and she's actually starting to like voice herself and like voice her opinions. It's not scary how she's doing it, but you can definitely tell she's trying to like break out of that, because she's obviously irritated and frustrated, and she's tired of being treated a certain way, and she's tired of seeing things just be unfair. And so she's starting to like break that, like break that soft shell, and become like a lot more vocal about things. And it honestly made me a little proud. Like I was like, wow, okay, I am getting a lot more attached to her. I would say there's some other characters I'm more interested in so far, but I'm also really curious because the story is this far, and yet we have not found one of the characters that she has been aimed looking for. So I'm just like, the last clip, I don't know exactly what I filmed, but I thought I said something about, to try and make sure I don't have to log in for work, I thought I said something about them landing on a port, or like finally getting on land. They didn't. So a lot of the story does kind of take place on the ship itself, so, which it's not really boring, because a lot of things actually happen on the ship. A lot of investigating, a lot of uncovering, dialogue happened on the ship, so I wouldn't say it's boring or anything. But yeah, I was thrown off. I thought they were actually on an island and they were actually landing on a port, but they weren't. So that, yeah, my fault. But now, the last chapter, they did get off the island and they did go somewhere else different, and it was just really cool. Oh man, my camera's blinking red. That is my quick check-in for now. Hopefully I can get it done soon, because I feel like I've been reading this book forever. It is currently February 13th, so taking me a while, but I'm also not rushing it. It's just a story I want to read before bed. And yeah, that is my check-in for now, and I'll see you guys in the next clip. Hello you guys, welcome back. I'm actually filming my outro for this vlog, and I wanted to share my final thoughts on Tress of the Emerald Sea. I did finish the book last night. Finally, I feel like it's been taking me so long to finish this book, but I'm really happy I did, because now I can finally tell you what I truly think of the story. So overall, I'm gonna go on with it and just say that I'm rating it at 3.5. I actually really enjoyed this story. I think I'm going to start off with the cons, and then I'm going to go in with the pros. So I just want to get the cons out of the way. I don't have a lot of cons to say for it. I just think that overall, if I could go back, I would prefer to pick up his other stories first, because I think this is kind of based off like the Cosmere world, which never made me feel confused. I never felt like I didn't know what was going on like that. At first I thought I didn't know what was going on, but as I watched like other spoiler reading vlogs after I finished the story, it made me realize, okay, I guess I did know what was going on. Sometimes I think his style of writing just had to take me a minute to get used to, because, or at least in this story, I don't know how his other styles is like throughout the other stories, because I think this is like more of like a secret project that he did on the side. So, and I was watching other vlogs after I finished this, and they kind of said that this is something that is a little bit different take from what he normally does. So what kind of threw me off a little bit, because I had to remind myself that there is like a narrator speaking for the story, and they kind of tend to break the fourth wall and kind of throw in some humor and some of their thoughts throughout the story, kind of as if like you're supposed to know who the narrator is and like have an idea of like where this narrator is going to take place somehow or some way. And at first, if I'm being honest, it kind of threw me off a little bit, and it kind of made me get really confused. But I think it's because I don't really read stories like that. But as I kind of remind myself, like, there's a narrator breaking the fourth wall sometimes and just like inputting their thoughts and like sprinkling their emotions and their take on certain things, it reminded me just to like take it slow and just actually like read the story instead of just like trying to hurry up and finish it. And when I did that, I actually really enjoyed the story. It was like the perfect kind of like fairy tale type of book I was looking for to read before bed. Once you kind of take the story slow, it's a lot more easier to intake and just be like, okay, let's just enjoy the story. I think as for a couple characters, I didn't really feel like I was like super attached to like some of the characters. As of the protagonist, it kind of took me a minute to get attached to her, but I remind myself that she's just a kind character, and sometimes in stories there's just gonna be kind characters, and there's nothing wrong with that. I feel like stories nowadays always have to make like a character be kind, and they just like become some like major bad, they become some like major tough person who like a hard exterior shell because they've been pushed too much. And I eventually thought that the character was gonna become like that, but she's just a kind character from a fairy tale type of story, and I had to remind myself that as well. So the story like really had to like pull me back and like sit me back in my place and be like, okay, let's just embrace it. Let's just take the story and enjoy it. If you're looking for something to kind of get resolved somewhat in the beginning or middle of the story, I'm gonna be honest, I did not expect the overall goal of the mission to happen like literally near the end of the very story. Another positive that goes towards that is that it just reminded me to like look at it and see the whole adventure that the characters went through to get to that ending. And when I realized that, I'm like, that actually is like really cool, because the whole majority of the story does take place just on the ship and just them sailing the seas and the spore seas. And when I kind of just look at that, I'm like, that's actually really cool. I kind of go back and picked up the story again and actually like reread it and kind of pick out the parts I missed. And another thing is, there is supposed, I don't know if it's supposed to be like a huge plot twist. I think he actually, I'm pretty sure he probably just wanted you to kind of get the idea, because there was a lot of like obvious answers to certain things, but there was just something, an outcome of something that I was like, it was kind of expected, but it was like a cute outcome. So I wouldn't say it was like disappointing. I actually really enjoyed fantastical, I guess is the word, I don't know if that's the word to use right now, but it's like a really like classic fantasy based story, and I honestly really enjoyed that. I really enjoyed actually like once I kind of took my time and like accepted the fact that there's a narrator breaking the fourth wall sometimes, which I'm not used to, but when I accepted that, I really enjoyed it. Like, it was kind of humorous sometimes. I wouldn't say I was like cackling or like laughing out loud, but it was just like a nice whimsical story, and it was really enjoyable to read, honestly, before bed. Like, it was nothing high stakes, nothing crazy, nothing too elaborate. It's just like literally like reading a classic fairy tale story and having like a narrator tell you something throughout the whole entire story, and you're just kind of watching these characters from above. And I really enjoyed some of the characters in the story. I wouldn't say I was like definitely attached to them, but I just enjoyed just like seeing like little parts about them. I think honestly my favorite character is Ulam. I really like Ulam a lot. It's just like the way he was created was just so interesting to me. So if you do read it and you pick out Ulam, I'm like really curious to see what you guys think of him. But yeah, I honestly really enjoyed the story. And I think one thing I would want to do though is I'd like to read Brandon Sanderson's other stories, because I was watching Murphy's video on this after I finished the story, because she did like a half non-spoiler, half spoiler. I watched the whole thing after I finished this book, and she was saying, this is not a spoiler, but she was saying that some of the characters in the story were, I hope I didn't hear it wrong, because I was also doing it while I was like doing some other stuff, but I am pretty sure she said something about some of the characters were featured in other books and they were also in here too. And then the Cosmere world is obviously like in his other books, and this is kind of based off the Cosmere world. So I do kind of wish that I read his other books first before I read this story, especially because I think this is like more of like a side project. It's something like a new take for him, and I really would like to have understood his writing style a little bit better to like fully understand this one. But I definitely don't think you have to read the other ones to have to read this one. Like, I think this was something definitely on its own. But yeah, overall
I enjoyed the story. I do think this is something I definitely want to read again, and then kind of pick out the parts I might maybe skimmed across before and just take my time with it and just completely enjoy it. It's literally like a fairy tale, like just like a fairy tale. And one thing about the story, it definitely made me want to get some nice ornate cups to put on my shelf, because I just think that was like a really cute touch to the story. And honestly, like seeing how he created this whole world, like a spore sea that reacts with water and then can do all this damage. And then yeah, there was like parts in it, like there's like creatures and a boat and all these different characters from like different areas. I don't know what the world would be called, but they're just characters from everywhere, and I really enjoyed it. Like it was just like a nice magical read. It was like a little fantasy story, nothing crazy, and it was just like a nice cozy book to read, honestly, before bed. So those are my final thoughts. I think I'm gonna wrap up this reading vlog, and I do want to say, if you enjoy these videos and if you have not yet, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel and like and comment. It really helps my channel out, and honestly I really enjoy just like seeing your guys' like comments and like what you guys say in the comments. It makes me so happy, honestly. And if you have read this book, I'm really curious to see what you guys think of it. If you are like familiar with Brandon Sanderson's book, let me know what book I should pick up by him to start off, because I've never read any of his stories before, so I don't know where to start. Like the whole thing is just kind of intimidating and like huge for me, because I don't know where to go and like where to start. But yeah, I'd really love to hear your guys' take on it. Yeah, I'm probably gonna let you guys go because I kept you guys long enough, but I will see you guys on the next video.